Our gospel reading today comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 21, verses 1 through 19. Listen now to the word of God from the Message translation. After this, Jesus appeared again to the disciples, this time at the Sea of Galilee. This is how he did it. Simon Peter, Thomas, nicknamed Twin, Nathanael from Cana in Galilee, the brothers Zebedee, and 2 other disciples were together. Simon Peter announced, "I'm going fishing." The rest of them replied, "We're going with you." They went out and got into the boat. They caught nothing that night, and when the sun came up, Jesus was standing on the beach, but they did not recognize him. Jesus spoke to them and said, "Good morning. Did you catch anything for breakfast?" And they answered, "No." He said, "Well, throw the net off the right side of the boat and see what happens." And they did what he said. All of a sudden, there were so many fish in it that they weren't strong enough to pull it in. Then the disciple that Jesus loved said to Peter, "It's the Master." When Simon Peter realized that it was the Master, he threw on some clothes, for he was stripped for work, and dove into the sea. The other disciples came in by boat, for they weren't far from land, 100 yards or so, pulling along the net full of fish. When they got out of the boat, they saw a fire laid, with fish and bread cooking on it. Jesus said, "Bring some of the fish you've just caught." Simon Peter joined them and pulled the net to shore. 153 big fish, and even with all those fish, the net didn't rip. Jesus said, "Breakfast is ready." And not one of the disciples dared ask, "Who are you?" for they knew it was the Master. Jesus then took the bread and gave it to them, and he did the same with the fish. This was now the 3rd time Jesus had shown himself alive to the disciples since being raised from the dead. Now after breakfast, Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these?" "Yes, Master, you know I love you." Jesus said, "Then feed my lambs." He then asked the 2nd time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" "Yes, Master, you know I love you." So Jesus said, "Shepherd my sheep." Then he said it a 3rd time, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter was upset that he asked for the 3rd time, "Do you love me?" So he answered, "Master, you know everything there is to know. You've got to know that I love you." So Jesus said, "Feed my sheep. I'm telling you the very truth now. When you were young, you dressed yourself and went wherever you wished. But when you get old, you'll have to stretch out your hands while someone else dresses you and takes you where you don't want to go." He said this to hint at the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. And then he commanded, "Follow me."